What's up everyone, welcome to another BTD gaming video, and this is actually going to be a deck profile for a Time Lord burn deck. Now let me just kind of say off the jump here, this is not this is not a competitively viable deck, at least not that I know of. This is more like kind of a meme troll deck, so I wouldn't take this deck too seriously. It's just maybe a funny rogue deck to bring to a local or whatever, just to have fun. The name of the game is burning your opponent's life points down to 0 using Time Lords and various spells and traps. So we'll kind of explain some of the moves as we go through each card. So first, our monsters, we have the Time Lords themselves. We're going to have 3 copies of Raffion the Time Lord. Again, so the point of the Time Lords is when they, first of all, you can special summon them if you control no monsters, which you won't because the Time Lords will go back to the deck, right? So you can special summon these guys, and when they attack and enter battle, they have different ways for your opponent to lose life points. So they can bounce cards to the graveyard back to the deck, and your opponents lose life points, and they also can't be destroyed by battle, which is big. But after a turn, they do go back to the deck. So 3 copies of Raffion the Time Lord. We have 2 copies of Halon the Time Lord. 2 copies of Sandion the Time Lord. 3 copies of Sandion the Time Lord. We have 2 copies of Lazion the Time Lord, and 2 copies of Camion the Time Lord. And to round out our monsters, we have 1 copy of Mishion the Time Lord. So your monsters are exclusively Time Lord cards. Again, all of them have their own abilities to deal damage and bounce cards to the grave or back to the hand or back to the deck, and they also can't be destroyed by battle, which is pretty cool. And you're never going to have monsters on your side of the field unless your opponent finds a way to put them there, so you can always special summon them. Alright, so now our spell cards. This is where things get really funny. This is where the memes come in. We have 3 copies of Hinotama, and you're going to see kind of why there's burn cards like this in this deck, because they combo off with some other spell cards too. Also 3 copies of Final Flame, some old school cards here, which again on their own they're not that great, but comboed with another card they're pretty cool. Next is kind of a big one, 2 copies of Cauldron of the Old Man. Continuous spell, you keep placing counters on it, and for how many counters you put on the card, you inflict 300 damage for each counter, or you gain gain 500 life points for each counter, but usually you'll be using it for the burn effect there. Now here's where a little bit of a combo comes in. Okay, we have Dark Room of Nightmare, 2 copies. Again, another continuous spell. So with this, when this card is active and you deal damage to your opponent, except in the battle phase, alright, so the damage can't happen in the battle phase, so each time you deal damage, you deal an additional 300 damage to their life points. So if I have Dark Room of Nightmare activated, and I activate Final Flame, they'll be inflicted the 600 life points from Final Flame, and then the 300 life points from Dark Room of Nightmare. If I activate Cauldron of the Old Man's effect, it'll do how many damage you're dealing with the counters of Cauldron of the Old Man, and the extra 300 from Dark Room of Nightmare. So you're kind of consistently dealing damage with these spells to your opponents, but these aren't the only ways you deal damage. Once we get to the trap cards, you'll see there's even more that can fully utilize this effect of Dark Room of Nightmare. And of course, everyone's favorite card, Mystic Mine. It's not very often you're going to have equal or more cards than your opponent, considering that each turn you're basically only going to have one monster on your side of the field. So Mystic Mine is very, very useful in that situation. Of course, to find Mystic Mine, we have Terraforming. And I also tacked in one copy of Pot of Extravagance. Now, maybe you can include more if you want to, if you can find room. But this deck doesn't really utilize the extra deck at all, so you can kind of put together your own extra deck and use Pot of Extravagance for that. So those are the spell cards. Alright, and so last but not least, our trap cards. We have two copies of Empty Machine, which eventually leads to 2 copies of Infinite Machine, which will eventually lead to 2 copies of Infinite Light. These are just ways for you to get your Time Lords onto the field. Having multiple Time Lords on your side of the field can be good sometimes if you're trying to deal more damage. So those are the Empty Machine, Infinite Machine, and Infinite Light combos there. Next, for our traps, we have 2 copies of Nightmare Wheel, which on its own isn't that great unless it's paired with 2 copies of Ojama Trio. So the big combo here is that you activate Ojama Trio, okay? The 3 Ojama tokens go on your opponent's side of the field, right? And they cannot tribute them. So they can't tribute the Ojama tokens. So if you activate Ojama Trio and then equip Nightmare Wheel to one of the Ojama tokens, right? Your opponent is constantly losing life points thanks to Nightmare Wheel because they can't get rid of the Ojama Trio, the Ojama tokens, which again is also a good combo if you have Dark Room of Nightmare out on your field as well. You're just constantly dealing more damage. Hence the reason why this is a burn deck. So the Nightmare Wheel Ojama Trio combo is good, and also if the Ojama token is destroyed, your opponent, the controller of the Ojama token, loses 300 life points as well. And then last for the traps, we have Solemn Judgment, 3 copies, just to we all know what Solemn Judgment does, just in case. Really solid card to have. This is the only card that's going to get rid of your life points on your own. So this is a pretty straightforward burn deck, but you're using the Time Lords. Again, the idea is to get Time Lords onto the field, attack with them, utilize their effects to deal damage to your opponent. Use Dark Room of Nightmare as a combo with your other burn cards for your opponent to lose more life points. Use Ojama Trio to fill up your opponent's side of the field. That will also give you a good use of Mystic Mine as well. Alright, so this was the deck profile for what we like to call Timeburn. Again, this isn't a very competitive deck. In fact, this is more of a meme troll deck, if anything, but it's still really fun to play. So I hope you found this deck profile helpful. Alright, we're going to see how this deck plays. Just going against a bot because I don't feel like going against a real opponent. And this will be quicker. So Dark Remove Nightmare. I'm going to set Solemn Judgment. And we'll just actually end it right there, because we can't attack this turn. Maybe going first isn't the best. Alright, here we go. So here's where the combos come in. Cauldron of the Old Man. And we're going to flip 300, then 300 from Nightmare. Dark Room of Nightmare. We're going to summon Halion. Enter battle. Attack. Nothing happens. Ring. Boom, boom. Right, select the card on the field. 2100 plus the 300 from Dark Room of Nightmare. So you can't do anything. And there's the Mystic Mine. Just gonna get him back to the deck. Actually, we're going to Pot of Extravagance. Banish 6 cards. Draw 2. Activate Mystic Mine. Now they can't attack. Summon Sandion. 4,000 attack. Activate. Inflict 300. Another 300. Well, actually, no. That was inflict 900. Battle phase. Boom. To the graveyard he goes. Now, they don't take battle damage there because of his effect. End phase. Mystic Mine's gone. Okay. Back to the deck he goes. Inflict more damage. Won't even need the Time Lords at this rate. Summon. Battle phase. Boom. And there we go. There's game 1. So again, you kind of see how this works. When Dark Room of Nightmare is on, it's actually really good. So I can just get in it for some easy damage here. Hinotama, 500 plus a 300, boom, just like that. And we're just going to end it there. Might take some battle damage here, but that's okay. Okay, we're going to set Empty Machine, summon Sandion, battle phase, attack, boom. Loses 2,000 plus the 300 from Dark Room of Nightmare. Empty Machine, boom. Oh, so here's Ojama Trio. So we're gonna set that. We're gonna activate Mystic Mine. And here we go, Ojama Trio. Activate. Summon 3 Ojama tokens to their side of the field. So now they only have one zone to really work with. So they can't tribute the Ojamas. Mystic Mine's still in play. They can't attack. Empty Machine. Boom, another Sandion, 4,000 beater. So we're actually going to go after his Time Thief. In phase 2. Dark Room of Nightmare. There we go. So we should be able to take this soon. There's Infinite Machine. So what's also nice about having the Ojama tokens on their side of the field is that you can keep Mystic Mine out. So right now, if these Ojama tokens weren't out in the field, the Mystic Mine would be gone because we'd have the same amount of monsters. But now that they have these tokens, that's not the case. We're just gonna activate Infinite Machine here, send Empty Machine to the graveyard, activate the effect. Send that. Boom. Boom. Those traps are nice because then you can get your board. Alright. Enter battle. Get rid of him. This should just about do it. And there you go. So, I know we only went against a bot, but this kind of really showcased what this deck can do. Dark Remove Nightmare. Pretty important to get out into the field just for that extra burn damage. The Time Lords are fun because they don't take battle damage, they don't inflict battle damage either, which could be important, and can't be destroyed by battle. They can be normal summoned when you have no monsters on your side, which is almost always the case. Mystic Mind helps also limit what your opponent can do. So that was just a nice little demonstration of what Timeburn can actually do.